Hello everyone, welcome to Box Office Receipts. I'm your host Tyler Callahan, and we got a good amount of news happening. We got new movies going into development. We have the leftover sales from Sundance and the latest box office numbers. Let's start with the domestic top 5. We got a quiet weekend at the box office with Mean Girls coming in first place again with $6.9 million for a total of $60.4 million. Right behind it was The Beekeeper with $6.6 million for a total now of $41.5 million. In third place was Wonka with $5.6 million for a total of $194.9 million. Fourth place was Migration with $4.8 million for a total of $101 million. And in fifth place was Anyone But You with $4.6 million for a total of $71 million. Yeah, so a quiet weekend across the board, which isn't too surprising. While it's not likely, maybe Argyle coming out next weekend will help boost the box office a bit. In China, Johnny Keep Walking stayed in first place for a fifth weekend in a row with $12.1 million for a total of $155 million. Second place was Rob and Roll, which made $5.3 million for a total of $12.1 million. The Goldfinger came in third place with another $3.5 million for a total of $71 million. In fourth place was The Beekeeper with $1.9 million for a total of $12.9 million. And in fifth place was Follow Bear for Adventure with $1.5 million for a total of $10.5 million. For worldwide numbers, The Beekeeper passed 100 million worldwide, with it now at $103.9 million. It earned $10.9 million internationally over the weekend. Definitely a hit for Amazon MGM Studios and Miramax. Mean Girls added another $4.3 million internationally for a worldwide total of $83.4 million. Anyone But You continues to do well, earning $14.2 million for a worldwide total of $126.6 million. Poor Things continues its international rollout, earning $10 million for a worldwide total of $51.1 million. Wonka is now at $552 million worldwide. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is now at $412.7 million worldwide. Migration is at $206.1 million worldwide. We start off the news in Hollywood with what could be another strike this year. Both IATSE and the Teamsters will start negotiating with the studios in March on a new deal with a focus on healthcare and pensions. The current contracts for both unions end on July 31st. If the studios are smart, they will look to close a new deal well before July, so they don't have to work on backup plans for filming and delaying things again if a strike were to occur. As for leftover news from Sundance, it is now confirmed that Warner Brothers did buy Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, and did get worldwide distribution rights. Netflix has bought another documentary, this one called Will and Harper. It focuses on friends Will Ferrell and Harper Steele as they take a road trip after Steele transitioned. It is directed by Josh Greenbaum, and based on a statement released about the sale, it looks like Netflix bought the worldwide rights to it. We now have an official title for Beetlejuice 2, now called Beetlejuice. Warner Brothers also released the first poster for it as well. It is set to come out September 6th. In an update from last week, Deadline is exclusively reporting that Disney will release Young Woman and the Sea in theaters on May 31st, but it'll be more of a limited release. With that being the case, not sure how much it's going to make at the box office. The Hollywood Reporter is exclusively reporting that John Klickman is currently in talks of taking the position of CEO for Miramax Films. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting that there is another candidate being interviewed for the position as well, so it is not a done deal. He used to be the Motion Group president at MGM. Over in China, Wanda Film have named Chen Ji as board director and chair. In the latest update on who might buy Paramount, Byron Allen has come back to throw his hat in the ring again, except this time he is making an offer to buy all of it, not just some cable channels. Bloomberg broke the news that he is making a $30 billion offer to buy out Paramount stock and pay off its outstanding debts. Depending on how he is funding the $30 billion offer, I think this is something Paramount will actually consider, since they didn't seem to care much publicly about his other offers. Disney has announced that the upcoming annual shareholders meeting will happen on April 3rd, and it will be virtual as well. Alec Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to the new charges he was charged with last week. For now, he is free without bail, but he is not able to leave the United States without getting permission from the court. Sadly, we had a few deaths this week. Sandra Milo died at the age of 90. She was an Italian actress that starred in films including Juliet of the Spirits and 8½. William O'Connell has died at the age of 94. He appeared in numerous TV shows and films including Star Trek, Paint Your Wagon, and Every Which Way But Loose, among others. Don Murray also died at the age of 94. He appeared in different films such as Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Bus Stop, and Advise and Consent. And Carl Weathers has died at the age of 76. He was most recently in the show The Mandalorian, but he had a big career, starring in a lot of different films from the Rocky franchise to Happy Gilmore, Predator, Toy Story 4, and Action Jackson, to name a few. Sylvester Stallone had this to say about Carl Weathers' passing, quote, "My life was forever changed for the better the day I met Carl Weathers. He was magic, and I was fortunate to be part of his life. Rest in power, and keep punching." End quote. Thoughts and prayers are with their families, and may they rest in peace. In an exclusive from Deadline, they are reporting that Nathan Fillion is starting a production company called Collision 33. He has also already signed a first look deal with Lionsgate. Fillion is also co-founding the new company with Michelle Chapman, who has been his manager. For Apple Original Films and Universal, they are not getting the good reviews they were hoping for with Argylle, Matthew Vaughn's latest film. So far, the reviews coming in have been mixed to negative, with an at a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. We could be looking at a potential bomb now, especially if word of mouth from audiences is poor when it comes out next weekend. Fathom Events is releasing another faith-based movie to theaters called 47 Days with Jesus. It will be in theaters March 11th, 12th, and 14th. For movie release dates, we got some new ones thanks to Deadline breaking the news. Saban Films will be releasing Knox Goes Away in theaters on March 15th. The movie is directed and stars Michael Keaton and premiered last year at the Toronto International Film Festival. Vertical and Roadside Attractions will release Asphalt City in theaters domestically on March 29th. It stars Sean Penn and Ty Sheridan as paramedics in the thriller. As for new movies in development, The Hollywood Reporter broke the news that Sony has won the bidding war for 28 years later. No word on how much they spent on it, but the budget for the film will be around $75 million. Definitely looking forward to that one. Universal announced a new DreamWorks movie that is in development, and that is the animated adaptation of Dogman. Dogman is a graphic novel for kids written by Dave Pilkey, who is also the creator of Captain Underpants. DreamWorks did make a Captain Underpants movie a few years ago as well. For Dogman, it'll be directed by Peter Hastings and is set to come out January 31st, 2025. For Prime Video, a new action comedy film called Deep Cover is being made, directed by Tom Kingsley. It focuses on a group of improv actors in London hired by police to work on stings. The film has a solid cast as well, including Bryce Dallas Howard, Sean Bean, Orlando Bloom, Patty Constantine, and Nick Mohammed. Hopefully, it turns out good. As for the rest of the new movies in development, all of them were reported on first by Deadline. They were pretty busy this week, let me tell you. Donnie Yen is set to star in a new film called Kung Fu. The film is an adaptation of a TV show from the 70s and is being made by Universal and 87 North. Stephen Chin has written the screenplay, and at the very least, David Leitich will produce, but he might also direct as well. Chris Rock is set to direct an adaptation of Another Round, the film from 2020 that starred Mads Mikkelsen and was directed by Thomas Vinterberg. Honestly, I just don't understand why this adaptation is happening. Nothing against Chris Rock. It's just I don't think this is a movie that really needs an adaptation personally. We'll have to be proven wrong, but we'll see. Amy Adams is looking to co-star next to Jenna Ortega in a new film directed by Taika Waititi called Clara and the Sun. It is based on a novel and is being produced by 3000 Pictures from Sony. Ralph Fiennes is set to direct, write, and star in The Beacon. Also starring in the movie are Indarya Varma, Alison Oliver, and Charles Babaloa. It is set to start production this summer. Sam Hargrave might be headed to Paramount, as Deadline is reporting that he is looking to direct an adaptation of Kill Them All. This is a graphic novel about an elite female assassin Hey, look, Hargrave has done some great work with the Extraction movies, so if he's making another high action one, sign me up. Tim Burton seems to have found his next film, as he is set to direct a remake of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman at Warner Brothers. The original came out back in 1958. Gillian Flynn is set to write the script for it. As for casting updates, we have a few of those. Deadline is exclusively reporting that Brad Pitt will star in what is supposed to be Quentin Tarantino's last film, called The Movie Critic. What's not clear right now is if he will play the lead role or a supporting character. I mean, look, Tarantino and Pitt together is great, so I'm down for that. DC Studios have found their Supergirl, with Millie Alcock getting the role. Kiki Palmer is set to join Aziz Ansari's film Good Fortune. This was in production last year before it had to stop due to the strikes, so I take it they're getting close to getting back to filming. Deadline has the exclusive on these two casting updates, and that is Miles Teller is in talks to join the Michael Jackson biopic movie. If he was to join, he would play the role of an attorney. And over at Marvel Studios, Geraldine Viswanathan is joining Thunderbolts, replacing Io Edebury. Edebury had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. We did get a few new trailers this week. Sony released a new trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It comes out March 22nd. Lionsgate released the first trailer for Guy Ritchie's latest film, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It looks pretty good, and I'm looking forward to watching it. It comes out April 19th. Neon released the first trailer for their upcoming horror movie, Long Legs, directed by Oz Perkins, and stars Nicolas Cage. Comes out July 12th. Focus Features have released a trailer for Back to Black. The Amy Winehouse biopic is directed by Sam Taylor Johnson and stars Marissa Abela. It comes out May 17th in the United States. Universal and Illumination released the first trailer for Despicable Me 4, and now we know the main villain will be voiced by Will Ferrell. Based on the trailer, this looks like it's going to be another home run for them at the box office. It comes out July 3rd. Let's start off VOD Premium with Apple TV Plus, where they have renewed Hijack for a second season. This was the drama that came out last year starring Idris Elba. I enjoyed the show, and while it wasn't perfect, it was a good watch, and I am looking forward to a second season. In exclusive from Variety, they are reporting that HBO is working on a new limited series based on a Gillian Flynn novel called Dark Places. Flynn and Brett Johnson will showrun and write the show together. For Paramount Plus, the upcoming Star Trek movie Section 31 started filming. The movie stars Michelle Yeoh as she reprises her character from Star Trek Discovery. NBC has greenlit a pilot for Suits LA, with shooting set to begin in March in Vancouver. So yes, Vancouver will be standing in for Los Angeles, at least for now. I take it if they are filming in March, they might try to have this ready for the fall season. While this is NBC, it will be on Peacock, so it could be a potential future hit for the streaming service. And sticking with Comcast overall, sadly, there were another round of layoffs over in the UK, this time Sky being affected with 1,000 employees being laid off. The Financial Times is reporting that most are technicians who would be coming to people's homes to install satellite dishes for Sky. Well, since more and more Sky customers are switching to streaming, even Sky has their own streaming option, the classic satellite dish service has become less popular. Hopefully they land on their feet soon. Canal Plus Group continues to go on a buying spree, with them having made an offer to buy out the rest of the MultiChoice Group, an African entertainment company. They currently own 31.7% of it. MultiChoice is headquartered in South Africa. For Prime Video, they have announced that the upcoming third season of Clarkson's Farm will premiere on May 3rd. In a report filed to the FCC, Amazon disclosed that they spent $18.9 billion on video and music content for all of 2023. That is an increase of 14% from 2022. And coming out this week on Prime Video is Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is getting great reviews, with it at 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. Definitely going to give this a watch. I do find it interesting compared to other shows like Reacher that they're releasing the entire season at once. Curious as to why. Disney is doing another round of pulling content off of Disney Plus, but specifically in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. As for the content, most are older shows and movies, from including ones from the Disney Channel. Hulu is getting ready to start their password crackdown, with customers being notified this week that the customer agreement has been updated to include that it is not allowed to share your credentials with people who do not live at your primary address. As for when it'll be enforced, that starts soon, starting March 14th. or at least that's when the agreement kicks in. This is not a surprise, as I expect all streaming services to do it at some point soon, especially since they had to look at all the gains Netflix have been getting since they started theirs. In a casting update for The Last of Us Season 2, Catherine O'Hara is joining in an undisclosed role. Having played the game, I saw some comments online about who she might play, and I can see it, but I'm not going to spoil it. It would be a pretty good casting choice. Nielsen has the top 10 for the first week of January, and in first place was the new Netflix series Fool Me Once with 3 billion minutes watched. In second place was Reacher with another 1.37 billion minutes watched. And in third place was Young Sheldon with 1.36 billion minutes watched. Some movies also hit the top 10 chart as well, with The Equalizer 3 coming in sixth place with 1 billion minutes, and Aquaman came in seventh place with 955 million minutes watched. Now let's wrap up with Netflix, where there have been a cancellation. The TV show Obliterated has been canceled after one season. It premiered back in November. The streamer has bought the UK distribution rights to an upcoming documentary called The Sidemen Story. It is a doc focused on The Sidemen, a British YouTuber group, with its most famous member being KSI. No word on where the documentary will be available to watch in other territories. A new series is in development at Netflix called Death by Lightning and will star Michael Shannon and Matthew McFadden. The series is based on the book Destiny of the Republic and is about the 20th President of the United States, James Garfield, and his would-be assassinator, Charles Gitteru. The big news from Netflix this week was announcing the lineup of shows and films for 2024. For shows, we have a new season of The Night Agent, The Diplomat, Squid Games, Emily in Paris, Outer Banks, Bridgerton, and the final season of Cobra Kai, among other shows. That, plus new shows that are debuting throughout the year, makes it a solid lineup, and it's no surprise some other big shows like Stranger Things and The Witcher will not be coming back this year, due to those shows requiring, a lot more special effects. It will take some more time, so next year for them probably. As for the films, the lineup includes Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, Spaceman, Code 8 Part 2, Damsel, Rebel Moon Part 2, Hitman, The Union, Back in Action, Scoop, and A Family Affair, among others. Also with this at a press conference, Chief Content Officer Bella Bajaria talked about them not taking their movies to theaters compared to what others are doing. Quote, I think a lot of companies and businesses do theatrical, and it's a great business for them. It's just not our business. Our business is to make sure that members come to Netflix, they're in the mood for a movie, and they get that movie that they want to see, and that is always going to be the focus for us. Making great movies for Netflix that members want to see. End quote. Look, personally, I would love to watch some Netflix movies in theaters, but from a business perspective, I see where she and the company is coming from. They are streaming first, people expect that, and with the recent boost in subscribers, they don't really have a need to do theatrical. Like, yes, maybe down the road, if they want to grow elsewhere or need to generate more revenue, then sure. But right now, they don't have to. Another thing to watch out for is if creators decide not to work with Netflix to make a movie and go to someone who will release it in theaters. Now, Netflix is probably okay with this because there's a chance the movie will end up on Netflix anyway. Again, if I'm a creator and I say, hey, I'm not going to go to Netflix because I want my movie to hit theaters, and I go to Sony. Well, Sony has a first look deal with Netflix, right? To pay one window deal with Netflix. So Sony will make the movie. It'll go to theaters. It'll have its run. And then a couple months later, it's going to go on Netflix anyway. All right. And, Universal has some movies on Netflix, I think. Warner Brothers definitely does. So for Netflix, they probably don't care as much because there's a decent chance they'll get the movie anyway. They'll just have to wait longer for it. Finally, let's take a look at the Netflix Top 10 for the week of January 22nd to the 28th. Lift stayed in first place for English films with 17.4 million views. Lion Cage came in second place with 9.1 million views, and The Kitchen came in third place with 7.7 million views. Also worth noting that Leave the World Behind has cracked the top 10 films of all time, with it at 8th place with 136.3 million views. For TV shows, Griselda debuted in first place with 20.6 million views. In second place was American Nightmare with 13 million views, and in third place was Fool Me Once with another 7.6 million views. And that's it for this episode of Box Office Receipts. If you want to follow me on Threads, X, or Facebook, links to those are in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.